Hello and welcome back to the Witching Hour. I'm Holly, and this is the Witchmaster's Key, a Hardy Boys mystery where Frank and Joe Hardy had just been accosted by a constable about something. And now Chapter 3, Graveyard Surprise.
What? You mean we're being arrested for grave robbery? Joe exploded.
Cool it, Joe, Frank urged his brother. We haven't been charged with any crime.
Not yet, the constable explained, but you'll have to come with me for questioning.
At headquarters, the constable grilled them about their stay in Gryffindor.
How'd you get your shoes muddy? He asked.
We blundered into a mud puddle last night, Frank said.
Perhaps you were digging up the body of John Pickenbaugh, the constable contended.
Joe got hot under the collar.
What would we want with a corpse? We don't even know the guy.
That's what you say, the constable noted. Suddenly he fired a question at them. What do you know about witchcraft? Frank coolly fielded the question.
Not a thing, Constable. America had witch trials in Salem, but that was long before our time.
We have an alibi, said Joe. We aren't there. The constable cleared his throat.
Where were you last night at 10 o'clock?
Well, that's easy, Frank told him. In bed at the Marquis of Granby Inn. Why don't you check with the desk clerk?
The constable picked up the phone and put a call through. After a brief conversation, he hung up.
Okay, he said. Your alibi checks out. The manager told me you came in long before that and did not leave again.
Kind of going a little Australian there, sorry.
Does that mean we can go? Frank asked.
Not quite. I'll need a character reference. Will anyone in Gryffindor vouch for you?
Frank scratched his head.
I guess the only one is Professor Chauncey Rowbottom.
Yeah, Joe put in. He knows who we are.
The constable can't call out the professor, who had just arrived at his home. Rowbotham said he would be right over, and while they waited, Frank and Joe talked to the men at the headquarters about the British methods of crime fighting. They gathered a few tips to add to the criminology files of Bayport. Professor Rowbotham bustled in. He was a slight with a goatee and flowing white hair. He carried a cane, which he waved around so carelessly he nearly hit the constable. He stammered slightly as he talked. After admitting he had never met the Hardys, he was challenged about how he could vouch for them.
But, oh yes, I know the father of these young men, he said. The sons of Fenton Hardy are sure to be all right.
Professor, the constable said, your word is good enough for me. He turned to Frank and Joe. Okay, you're free to go.
Rowbotham had a European compact car outside. While they drove, he explained the mystery that had brought them to East Anglia.
Well, you see, the fact is, I'm curator of the Gryffindor Witch Museum. It's my life's work. All my money is tied up in it.
Joe nudged Frank. Gryffindor seemed to be crowded with witches. So you want us to investigate the ladies who ride broomsticks? Joe suggested.
Oh, no, nothing like that. The problem is that the museum has been robbed, burglarized, cleaned out. I hope you fellows can find out who did it, because the police don't seem to make any headway.
They drove up to a large building, not far from the cemetery where they had spied on the weird Pickenbaugh funeral. It was 4 stories high with a lot of corners and bay windows. The slate roof tilted at a steep angle that made it appear to be toppling over. Professor Rowbotham escorted them through a few rooms of the Witchcraft Museum. All were stripped completely.
Not even a stick of furniture left, Frank muttered.
Quite. That is, I would have to say you are quite right. Nothing is left. Everything is gone. The basement is here. I had a big collection of occult items down there. The rooms were locked. Now they are empty.
Why would the thieves take everything? Joe wondered. Why didn't they concentrate on valuable objects?
Frank pitched his lower lip.
They may have been after something specific, he theorized. Maybe they took everything so nobody could tell which piece they wanted.
Rowbotham was impressed by the theory.
Very likely, but I cannot imagine what it could be. I wrote to your father because I was so stunned I thought he might solve the mystery.
Dad was delayed by an important case in California, Frank said. He sent us instead.
I see your point here. I understand he trained you to be detectives, but the question is, will you take the case?
Of course we will, Professor, Joe assured him. That's what we're here for.
First of all, Frank said, is there any tie-in between the burglary at the Witch Museum and the robbery of John Pickenbaugh's grave?
Professor Rowbotham said he doubted it.
Pickenbaugh was still alive when the theft took place, he pointed out.
Have there been any other burglaries around here? Frank asked.
Yes, there have been some in Eagleton Green. That is the artisan village next to Gryffindor.
Artisan village, Frank queried.
A village of workmen who make things like clocks, guns, and jewelry. They have suffered from thefts lately, also arson.
Theft and arson, Joe exclaimed. Sounds like a gang operating in ancient Anglia.
But, although I'm not a detective, Robotham said, I must tell you these were small crimes, more like harassment.
Any suspects? Frank persisted.
A young man, a groom, I believe, from the Craighead estate.
Nip Hadley, Joe blurted out.
Just so, he was caught near the Eagleton Green saddle shop just after a firebomb went off.
We met him, Joe said. He might just be mean enough to do something like that. Don't jump to conclusions, Frank advised. Let's talk to Nip about this. He turned to Robotham. What kind of objects are we talking about? I'd like to know a witch collection when I see one. The professor produced a thick catalog. Frank and Joe studied the listings. Wow, Joe exclaimed. Cauldrons, robes, wands, bells, daggers, dolls with pins in them, the works. Also, Frank observed, stuffed animals, astrology charts, poison potions, and good old skull and crossbones. Robotham cleared his throat.
Notice the instruments of torture. They are my particular hobby. Pincers, thumbscrews, headsman's axe, etc.
Frank closed the catalog and handed it back.
With so many items involved, he said, we'll have to go over this museum with a fine-tooth comb.
But, the police have already done so, Robotham declared. They even found a clue and took it to the headquarters.
Then we'd better mosey on down there and take a look at it, Joe said.
We'll be back later, Frank promised.
You'll stay with me, the professor said, in my house behind the museum. I'll have your things brought over from the inn.
Sure thing, Professor. Thanks. Meanwhile, we'll return our car. I doubt that we'll need it. And I think that's... there's only a little bit left in this chapter. At headquarters, they spoke to an officious sergeant named Joseph Rankin. When they asked about the clue from the Witch Museum, Rankin first evaded the issue.
Why should I say anything to you about the clue, he growled.
Because Professor Robotham hired us to investigate this case for him, Frank said in a conciliatory tone. Quickly, he filled the sergeant in.
Well, Rankin said, in that case, you might as well see what we've found.
He opened a drawer and produced a long purple and white feather, which he placed on the desk.
This was on the floor beside the door of the museum.
Any theory about it? Frank queried.
We know that feathers were used to make witch's brew. The thieves might have dropped it when they were moving the stuff out the door.
Then it was part of Robotham's collection?
He claims not, but why would anyone bring a feather along on a burglary job?
Thanks, Sergeant, Joe said.
We appreciate it, Frank added. As the boys started for Robotham's house, Joe said,
I think that's an eagle feather.
Not exactly an eagle, Frank disagreed, but a close relative. I'm not sure. What bugs me, though, is that the professor claims it's not his. Joe had an inspiration.
What say we make a detour around by the cemetery and take a gander at Pickenbaugh's grave?
Good idea. Maybe the ghouls left a clue.
They tramped through the woods to the spot where they had seen the weird mourners. The police were there examining the empty coffin that had held the corpse of the Witchmaster. A few questions elicited information that no clue to the desecration had been found. Frank and Joe went up to one of the officers.
Found anything yet? Frank asked.
The tall, thin man shook his head. Then he squinted.
What's it to you?
We were accused of pulling this little job this morning, Joe answered angrily, so we're interested.
Oh, you're the American fellows who are visiting here, the officer said with a grin of recognition. They tried to pin it on you, but it didn't stick. Well, it looks like a burglary to me. The lining of the coffin was ripped. The villains were looking for something hidden in there.
But why would they take the corpse then, Joe asked.
The officer shrugged. Who knows? Let's look around the cemetery, Frank suggested. Maybe we'll find something the cops overlooked.
They walked between the headstones until they came to a freshly dug grave. Frank advanced to the edge of the hole and peered into it. Joe moved up beside him. A sudden slithering noise made them whirl around. Two hooded figures leapt on them, and from behind a clump of bushes, two clubs descended in a swinging arc. Zap! Everything went black. Frank and Joe tumbled headfirst into the open grave and lay still. I like how the title of that chapter gave away the ending. But the Witchmaster is gone from his grave because he's not dead. John Pickenbaugh is very much alive. Anyway, we're going to play a nice little game about a witch and her pet cat. So we'll get to that. Hello, this is The Cat in Witch's Autumn. It's a little visual novel with some choices. It looks delightful. You will notice the cat is a pumpkin.
And the witch is some sort of anime person. I think this has voice acting, so I might not have that much to do with it, but it promises to be short, so let's get into it and see what happens here. Hope you're all having a nice autumn, and you're not meeting any witches, but maybe some cats. As I opened my ears, or my eyes, I noticed a witch grinning at me. I did my best to return the smile. My head hurts a little, but that doesn't matter now since I have to greet this lovely witch. Hello, my name is... The kind witch waited patiently for my name. What was my name? Let's be Pumpkin, sure. My name is Pumpkins! Oh my gosh, this is too precious, but... There, it's still a bit low. Now let's see. It's a pleasure to meet you, Pumpkins. How are you feeling? My little pumpkin body still hurts, but I guess I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not sure, but why? But the witch's expression clouded. Did something sad happen? Do you remember what happened to you? Huh? What happened to me? Did I eat too much? Did I fall from a high place? Did I fall from a high place? Did I fall from a big tower? The witch laughed at me before sighing and smiling bittersweetly at me. I believe cats can survive falling from great heights. They must genuinely have 9 lives. Really? We have 9 lives? Whoa, this is incredible. Oh, you weren't aware of it, silly pumpkin. Do you want me to come inside my cottage? I'd love to, I'd love to. I softly skipped beside the witch's feet. The witch's cottage looks so nice and comfy. Oh, look at, she's got trophies, witch stuff. The pumpkin cat is adorable. I love the art in this. It's so delightful. They have this big, large cauldron peeking at me from their bedroom. Oh, the witches are they. I like it. I like that. I bet they've already made many potions with it. I have a few varieties of food here. What do you want to eat? All the food doesn't seem to be fresh, but one caught my eye. Fish, fish, cheese, rice. Let's do cheese. Cheese looks so good. Can I have it? The witch giggles and then looks at me again. And cats can't have too much cheese, okay? Maybe just a small amount would do. Yikes, I forgot about that. Well, we can go somewhere to buy you some cat food. They cut a small piece, just like the size of a die. Okie dokie, I hope we'll get more later. Wait, did I click on... Oh, I clicked on the history. For now, I want to have fun. I wanna to have fun. Okay. After eating our breakfast, we went to the garden. Oh, the garden! This is so delightful. This is very spring, though, not autumn at all. What will we do now? We're going to plant some squashes and we'll make them grow fast after we put a special potion I have in mind. Okay, so what do we need? Squash seeds, a watering can with water, and a trowel. If you want to, you can tell them to plant the squash seeds for us. Really? Indeed, so what do you want to do? Yup. Well, my materials are pretty stubborn and can't be commanded by other people. The witch sighs heavily. I need to ask questions about different things first. It is troublesome. I hope you get it all correct. First, what was fall historically called? It's a quiz! Oh my gosh! It's what was fall historically called. Let's see. Orange trees time. It's probably harvest, right? It's gotta be harvest. Correct. How many days are there in a year?
389 days in a year.
No, 365. Correct. When is the leap year? It's 366. I'm a pretty smart pumpkin. In the real Earth, in what month does autumn end? Okay. Wait, what? Huh, it must be November because in the real Earth, it's December.
like, the 21st of December is the first day of winter. So autumn technically ends in December. Correct. I don't understand that, but, I mean, I guess it's, like, how the actual seasons work. That's my complaint, is that the seasons don't work the way they should. I've always said that. Fall should be August through November, not start on September 21st. Or September through November, I mean. But it starts in September 21st, so technically October through December is fall. After answering the questions, the material suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Great job, you managed to summon all of them. Whoa, now should we plant them? Oh no, you shouldn't worry about it. The items will do the gardening themselves. We just need to say, Plantaka semena, quickly. When I looked at the items, they weren't moving. Uh-oh. It's okay, you said the wrong incantation. Oh, it was timed and I got stressed and clicked on the wrong one. It's Plantaka semena, not Planteke semana, silly pumpkin. Plantaka semena! When I looked at the items, they moved by themselves and continued to plant the seeds. Okay, we didn't screw it up. We're just a silly pumpkin. There, all finished. We didn't even get dirty. That's amazing! The sun is pretty high above us now, but it doesn't feel hot. Awesome. Oh, look at the sun. Perfect. We can buy ingredients for the potion that we'll need for them to grow instantly. The witch went inside for a bit and came out with a small pouch and a piece of paper they put in their sling bag. They carried me and went to the day market. It's the day market! Yay! When we arrived at the day market, it was bustling with different looking people. Some have cat ears just like me, some have green skin with pitch black eyes, and some even have wings. Oh, this is a cool fantasy. We went inside this little tent. It was dark inside until suddenly... Eek! It's a demon? Or an elf? It's an elf. Hello. It seems you finally found yourself a friend, Miss Witch. MX Witch. Oh, the witch is agender. I like this. The mysterious elf looked at me and smiled faintly until turning his gaze to the witch again. Oh, what would you like to buy? A lilac, a leaf of philodendron, and other assorted ingredients. Also a mundane potion, please. I'm looking forward to what we'll do with those later. The witch gave the small pouch to the elf, and he puts the orders in the small thing. It must be a magic pouch. I hope you have a nice day, cat. Also, you too, witch. We left the tent and the witch suddenly asked me, It's already lunchtime. Do you want to eat? Yes, please. We started walking towards the bustling crowd. After a few squeezing through the crowd, we finally arrived at a restaurant called Blazer. The witch puts me down in a chair next to their seat and called for a waiter. This place looks like it's popular. A long line outside proves it. Good thing the witch used their magic to get ourselves through. Then a green-haired waiter came to our table. Hello, welcome to Blazer. What are your orders? The waiter looks at me and gave me a few nice pets. What would you like to have, pumpkins? If your cat likes wet cat food, I can make some of it. Nice, thank you. I'd like that, please. That would be nice. Mine will be a cozy autumn soup with chili, please. Okay, soup with chili. Sure, why not? Coming right up. Please wait. After just a few minutes, the kind waiter already served the food we wanted. The squash cat food smells so good. Wait, I thought you said fresh cat food. It's squash cat food. Because I'm a squash cat. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love this art. I love these backgrounds. Squash cat food smells so good. This is better than my breakfast. After eating in Blazer, we went home to make the instant growth potion. Do you want to put the ingredients in the cauldron? Do I want to? Okay. Great. I'll handle the stirring. I'll describe the things you'll need to put in and we'll see if you get them right. First, its blossoms are red with a tinge of gold near the brown center. The correct ingredient is mariachi salsa helenium. Mariachi salsa helenium. Next, a leaf that can be found on a the leaf that can be found on a red-leafed accent tree is upright and slender.
Red leafed accent tree. This is a memory game. I guess it's this. The correct answer is the red maple leaf. Oh, I got it wrong. Last, a fall leafy tree that's ablaze with spectacular red hues. Okay. Great. We finally finished the potion. It's now time to apply it to the squash seeds. Come on, let's go. Let's use them on the seeds right away. They flipped over the vial and dumped a few drops on the ground. Let's wait for them to grow. As of now, we can rest inside. Besides, the sun will almost set. Alright, I screwed those up. When we wait inside, the witch sat down in their chair before relaxing themselves. The sun is nowhere to be found inside. Whoa. Is there anything you want to do? Ask pumpkins. When I'm curious about their life, it'll be nice to know more about them. Can I ask about some of your memories? Sure, ask ahead. Old broom, wooden trophies. I was curious about the trophies. Ah, yes, that's the best memory that I still remember. It was already 20 years ago when I won the Best Spellcaster in Urmaluna award. Before, I was one of the few witches here in Urmaluna. The village didn't have many people in it. The last chief of this village hosted a contest for witches who can cast spells. It was also autumn that day, and I really wanted to win the cash prize. The cash was enough to buy myself a cozy autumn soup. I was forgetful since I was a kid, so I don't really know spells all too well. I reviewed the books my grandma gave me and engraved them onto my previous thick wand. Luckily, the audience that attended the event all had poor eyesight, so they didn't notice the cheat notes I had. The witch chuckled softly. After that, I went back home and ate my soup. Well, let's ask all of the old broom. Oh, that's my first licensed broom. It is pretty old. I remember the times when I took the broom license test. I failed so many times because most of the brooms weren't friendly. Nowadays, they have these hover wooden boards that I'm not really fond of. Even though my grandma tells me that I shouldn't talk to my broom whenever I want to use it. If you ask the broom nicely, it becomes easier to ride it. Much easier than those hoverboards. However, I might not be able to ride it again. Oh. Oh no. What's happened to this witch? She's just older, I guess. These books were from my grandma. She was the headmaster of a small witchery school back in my village. I wasn't doing well in class, and that's why she gave me those books. I tend to easily forget the spells they taught me each day. She said, you should keep them until you grow old. Maybe one day you won't be aware that the spell you casted has already disappeared, and you're the only witch to read those again and again. The witch giggles like a child. You know, I wish I didn't brush off her warning. Crystals. Crystals. My ma gave me those. I don't have any favorites, but I like them all. I charge them with the monthly biggest full moon here in Urmaluna. I don't know if this memory of mine is even related to the gems, but after charging them, I went back here and put them beside me while I cast an immortality spell on myself. It turned out that the spell wasn't really going to make me immortal, it just temporarily paused my growth for a few hundred years. I think it'll soon completely wear off. The crystals are the last memories I have of my ma. I don't really remember her that much, but I'm sure she was lovely. She was as beautiful as them. How much I miss her. Finished. Are you finished listening to the stories? Yes. Wow, I had fun listening to your stories. I thought they were a bit dull for you. I'm glad you had fun. Now we should pick up with the squashes. We could make them as decorations or maybe cook as a squash soup. Oh, both of those would be nice. We went out again in the garden and saw the squashes already harvested and put into a basket. They're already harvested? Magic. Now what should we do to them? Carve or soup? Don't worry, I'll give you squash-flavored cat treats. Carve them! We decided to carve the squashes to be decors. After a few minutes, we finally done and helped them see the mistakes in the squashes' carvings. I'll put them as decorations in my garden. I'll be back for a bit. They all look good. If it wasn't for your hidden skill in eyeing mistakes, I wouldn't have been able to do them so nicely. Now that we're finished, do you want to go for one last stroll? The moon is almost out in the month's biggest full moon, a day that will always remind me of my whole life. We can watch it rise off the cliff near here. Oh, let's go! We went through the day market again. It's not as busy as it was before, but there are still some people. Huh, it's weird the sun's still high. Maybe that's why it's called day market. Then we passed by the magical black waters of Mavranera, as the people of Luna call it. The waters are full of tall trees and different kinds of fruits and glowing insects. And then finally we arrived at our destination. This cat pumpkin knows a lot about things, even though they're pretty new. The witch puts me down beside them and lets their feet hang off the edge of the cliff. The moon looks so majestic tonight. It looks different than the ones I saw before. The perfect way to spend this night would be chatting with you. So what are the things that you like to do? Helping people feel awesome. Discovering new things. Being a playful cat. That's all. Those are reasonable things to do for a feline like you. The witch laughed at their comment. Anyway, did you have fun today? Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you had fun. This does feel like a short day, but it was all worth it. The witch smiles at the moon as the cold autumn wind brushes against us. You know, this season is very important for me. It is the season where I was born, the season where I immortalized myself, and the season I found you. What would you do if it was your last day? What would I do? What would I do? Enjoy it. Be sad or relaxed. Let's enjoy it. I would probably enjoy every single second of it, doing every fun thing I could possibly do. The witch lowers their gaze. Indeed, that would be what I'll do, and I'll think I've already done it. Oh, don't you look sleepy? The witch says I laid down on the grass, my consciousness slowly succumbing to my sudden drowsiness. I'm glad I got to spend my last autumn with you. Thank you. The end. Oh, she was dying! That was her last autumn! Her last day! And she met the pumpkin cat who made everything happy. Oh, that was such a sad and cute story. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm gonna try to find some more fun things. But this is the last cute, happy game I have, autumn game I have. After this, we're gonna try to play out this week a little bit more, and then it's gonna get spooky in here. So I hope you enjoyed this thoroughly. I'll put the link to this in the description if you want to try some of those other options and check this out for yourself. Have a nice time. Thank you for watching.